Welcome to another episode of Thani Oruvan. Through Thani Oruvan program, we speak to various professional and competent professionals in fact, and based on our invites we speak to them and share their success stories and also the piece of advice for your career development or probably to achieve your goals. On this basis today, we have invited one of the key competent in his chosen field, one of the specialists who has related with cardiac surgery and thoracic surgeon as well. We would like to introduce with very happily and in humble Dr. A.G. Jayakrishnan, and also he is a chief cardiovascular and also thoracic surgeon and transplant surgeon at Navaloka Hospital, Colombo. In fact, he is basically from Kerala state, and also he is qualified to MBBS and MS from Manipal University back in India, and also specialist in training in Ireland and UK. So, and also FRCS in cardiac thoracic surgery as well. Welcome to the show, doctor.
Thank you.
In fact, Thani Oruvan is a Tamil word, and so this program we do contact with eminent personalities who have succeeded in their chosen field.
Yes.
And so we can replace the Thani Oruvan as a self-made, perhaps in that way we can put across. And so you are the special guest for us today to share your success story. So doctor, having said that, why did you choose to become a doctor, and why the cardiology field in particular?
Okay. It will be a long story,
Okay.
but when I during school days, those days, it is a very long time ago. In those days, as students, we didn't have much of information available to us to decide. So most of the students, I'm talking about 60s, all of them aspired to become an engineer, a doctor, or a lawyer. Nothing more than that. Nobody could think of any other profession, and because we didn't know about other professions or the opportunities available to us. And most of us went by what our parents told us to do. And in my case, of course, my parents wanted to be a doctor. My father wanted to become a doctor, but he couldn't because of some circumstances. He lost his father and his brother in quick succession. So he wanted me to become a doctor, and that was in my mind. And I was also interested in the field of medicine. So that is probably one of the most, and I was attracted to the field of medicine. And that is what made me to choose medicine. And of course, you need to have reasonably good marks in the school, which I was able to get. And then I got selected for medicine and became a doctor.
But in market like India, it's not that easy to score and you come into this field, into MBBS.
Yes.
To become a doctor, because we know it's very competitive, a lot of a competition. So how did you overcome that?
That's a very, very good and very important question, because I studied in a private medical college. Like you said, the competition, those days, of course, the numbers were less and the number of medical colleges very few. For example, in my state of Kerala, those days, there were only 3 or 4 medical colleges for the entire state. Now we are talking about 40 or 50 medical colleges in that small state of Kerala. Yes. And competition was very intense, because as I said, most people wanted to become a doctor or an engineer. And it's only the very top in the class, first or second in the class, who got into these fields. And also there was a policy of reservation in India, which is still there, which means that those who belong to the lower level communities had certain seats reserved for them. So if you belong to the so-called upper class, you were not in the field.
Okay.
And you didn't get in the medical colleges in India, the fees was very low, very cheap. So you didn't get into that. So if you really wanted to become a doctor, the only option was to go outside the state or to a private medical colleges outside the state. And again, in those days, the private medical colleges were also very few in number.
Okay.
And Manipal, the Kasturba Medical College, Manipal, was the very first medical college in India which was started in the private sector.
Private sectors, okay.
And it was started by a doctor.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Okay,
by Dr. T.M.A. Pai. And that gave an opportunity to people like me, who could afford my parents could afford to pay some extra money, and therefore I was able to realize that dream of becoming a doctor.
So you made use of the opportunity where
Yes, even there you had to have reasonably good marks.
Good
it's
marks
not
as
that
well
anybody could just get
exactly,
admission,
yes.
but that I was able to achieve and get into
So
that.
it's basically that your ambition also had what your parents, they want you to become a doctor. In the meantime, you took that as your dream.
Exactly.
And also you developed that as a goal in your life too,
yes.
And found the reasonable way to go and achieve it.
Yes, and from the day I joined medicine, I really enjoyed it, and even to this day, I really am thankful that I got the opportunity and able to practice medicine.
As well. And why, doctor, specifically cardiology?
Yes, I'm actually a cardiac surgeon, which means cardiology and cardiac surgery are the same branch, but they are slightly different in the sense that cardiac surgeon does the operations on the heart. The cardiologist makes the diagnosis, and nowadays they also do some kind of treatments called percutaneous treatments. But cardiac surgeon is slightly different. They only do the heart operations. So I am a surgeon who does operations on the heart, lungs, and other blood vessels. So it's a cardiac surgeon. After you finish your MBBS, you have to do something called an internship or house surgency, in which you are posted into different. For 3 months, you are posted into different branches of medicine. One is medicine itself, one is gynecology, obstetrics, and surgery, and preventive medicine. So while you get an opportunity, you are exposed to these 4 main branches of medicine. So at that time, when I was posted into surgery, I knew that this is what I wanted to do, that I wanted to become a surgeon. But I was not very sure of which branch of surgery. Surgery also has many specialties, like different types of surgeries. So I wanted to become a surgeon, and I was able to achieve that by getting selection into surgical training in Manipal University itself. So I was able to become a surgeon, and after that, then I got an opportunity to work with during the surgical training. I got an opportunity to work with a very good surgeon, an excellent surgeon, and a good teacher, Dr. Ullal, whom I was really impressed with. And then again I got interested in the field of cardiothoracic surgery, and that was the reason I became a cardiothoracic surgeon.
Surgeon as well. Right. So doctors, what's the most rewarding part of your job?
I mean, as a doctor, the most rewarding part is if your treatment works, and the happiness and the joy that the relatives and the patient express to you. That is the most rewarding, in my opinion. And to be a part of that, to be able to help somebody recover from an illness or an injury, that is the most rewarding part of this profession.
I'm with Dr. Jayakrishnan, who's a cardiovascular surgeon and also thoracic surgeon. Let's meet after a small break. Welcome back to the show, Thani Oruvan. I'm with Dr. Jayakrishnan. Doctor, so we spoke about the rewarding part of it. That's always a nice side, but there's other side also in any kind of a job. So what's the more challenging part of your job?
Of course, medicine as a whole is a very challenging profession, starting from day one. Because first of all, the course itself is a little bit long. It takes 5 years to qualify just as a doctor. And then you have 1 year of internship. So it's a long course, and even then you are nowhere, because you have to specialize again. And nowadays the number of specialties is increasing, and each specialty is being divided into more and more super specialties. Like even if you take heart surgery, for example, you have children's heart surgery and you have adult heart surgery. And thoracic surgery is nowadays a separate branch. The vascular surgery is another separate branch. So it is a very long process. So unless you are ready to sacrifice a lot of things to achieve your goal, whatever your goal may be, whichever branch of medicine you want to do, you have to be ready for that. And you need a lot of support, family support first of all, when you're studying financially, because you take a long time to start earning. Whereas your classmate who has gone into some other profession may start earning 3 years after he qualifies, but you are taking 10 years or 15 years before you start earning. So the family has to support you, and as you grow older, obviously you get married and then you have children. So you're still studying sometimes. Many of us are still studying when you're married and you have children. And so that they have to be understanding and support you. And then you have to be also partially financially stable to continue with this. Of course, you get loans and you get other things, and some people are richer, some people are poorer. So these challenges are the most important challenges is socially. Again, in the profession itself, there are many challenges. So all do not become successful doctors. If you have 100 students entering medical college, around 10 may drop out in between because they cannot handle the stress for many reasons. And many others will stop after a certain level and they cannot progress further, or they may stop just after MBBS. Not that it's not enough, but then you cannot climb the ladder and reach the top. So if you really want to reach the top, it's a very long journey, very difficult journey, and you have to be mentally strong. More importantly, you need the support of your family and also your friends, because during that long period of learning, you will be probably spending more time with your colleagues and friends than with your family and patients, of course. So all of them need to be supportive of you, and everybody is not the same. Each person is a different character. How they take the stress, how they behave, how they react to the stress, everything is different. So all this has to gel together to make you a successful doctor and a good human being, which is also more important, which you should learn along the way. People can teach you how to be the medical part of it, but there is no curriculum to teach you how to become a good human being. That has to come from within you or from your family or friends or whatever it is. So that is part and parcel of being a doctor. Unlike any other profession, more so unlike any other profession, because you are dealing with people who are not well, and the families who are very upset and frightened. So all that you have to be able to handle it. So forgetting your stress, you have to deal with other people's stress. So that is a big challenge. But I will add that it's all very gratifying in the end.
In the end,
yes,
correct.
Because you're doing something for somebody.
Some service towards people, life changing. And also, doctor, when you on the profession, there are nowadays you see a lot of new innovations are coming, a lot of new technologies coming. So you need to get updated with that. I think also, is it another big challenge you look at?
It is a very big challenge, and it's absolutely vital that you get updated on a regular basis. It's probably much easier nowadays because you have access to a lot of information on the net, and it's at your fingertips. When you hear that something has been done somewhere, you can look at YouTube and see how it's done. But it was different during my college days, much more difficult. But it's absolutely vital to keep in touch with latest innovations, because each innovation improves the treatment that you can give to the patient. It is fact that a lot of people get stuck and they feel that they have done everything and I don't have to learn anything more, which is wrong. Not only in medicine, I think in all professions, it's a continuous learning process. Even if you can't do it, you should know that it can be done. So, for example, a new type of treatment is available which may help your patient. I might not be able to do it because of lack of facility or something, but I should be able to tell him, look, this is available for you. If you want, you can do that. So one has to continuously learn, and especially in the field of medicine, the technology is advancing at a very, very rapid pace. So we have to keep pace with that.
No? And doctor, see, you're from Kerala, you've been there, and so in Sri Lanka, so how do you find as Sri Lanka as a country, and where you work here and work in environment and the hospital you are working in, so what you got to say about it?
Kerala and Sri Lanka have a lot of similarities. starting from the the natural, the beauty of the place, and the habits of the people, the food habits are all fairly similar. So it was very easy for me to sort of gel or understand the people here and the system here. It's a wonderful place. I have been associated with Sri Lanka and also with Navaloka Hospital for more than 20 years. And so obviously I like it. That's why I stay here for so long. I used to come here on a visiting basis every month stay for a week or so for the last 15 years. But now for the last 3 years I am working full time at Navaloka Hospital. So it's a very good place to work. We have a very good staff support, equipment support, and whatever you need for the performing, especially in my field, cardiac surgery, it's all available here.
Right, and also you have a good heart center. Perhaps you can get.
Yes, it's a very what do you call it? A closed, very unified place where everything is available in one place. In fact, the theater, the ICU, the office, everything is all in one, close to each other.
Let's meet after a small break. Welcome back to the show, Thani Oruvan. I am with Dr. Jayakrishnan. He is a chief cardiovascular and the thoracic surgeon and also the transplant surgeon at Navaloka Hospital. Doctor, so every day now the world is moving very fast and things are moving fast. So what kind of advancement in the cardiovasculars, particularly on the surgical side?
Cardiac surgery or surgery of the heart is only little more than 100 years old. And the first heart surgery technically was done only in 1897. So 1897 is more than 100 years old, which was a small surgery, just repair of a wound of the heart. But from then onwards, cardiac surgery has grown. But most of the advances happened after 1962, 1950s, late 50s, early 60s. And from then onwards, it has become a very big specialty. Earlier, it was thought that you cannot operate on the heart because it is moving all the time. And people who wanted to operate on the heart were thought to be fools. But now we know that the heart is very easily, can be operated on very easily. Till about the late 90s, 1990s, most of the heart operations were done by connecting the patient. Because the heart is moving all the time, we had to stop it to do the operation. So the patient was connected to a heart-lung machine and the heart was stopped and the operation was done. And after the operation was done, the heart was restarted, and that is how it was done. But all that has changed in the last 15 or 20 years, which is now we can do the operation without stopping the heart and without using the heart-lung machine. So all the a machine is an artificial thing. So all the complications of using the heart-lung machine are completely avoided, and you can work on while the heart is still working. So that is a big advantage to the patient. That is one advance, and that is mainly in bypass surgery. The other big advance is the miniaturization of the surgery itself. By miniaturization, I mean the opening, because finally what you see outside is the scar. And now you can do it through very small scars using telescopes or endoscopes, as they call it. And that is a very big advance, because for the patient it gives a very big, much less pain. And it's also, the scars are very much less.
So basically you don't have to open the heart.
We don't have to open the bone. You can, not all surgeries, but a lot of surgeries can be done by those processes by using advances in technology like imaging. And in the diagnosis of heart disease, the advances have been very dramatic. Now you can even do a ultrasound of the fetus while it is in the mother's womb. And if it has got a heart defect, it can be repaired inside the womb. Or if it is very, very complicated, not repairable, we can advise that better not to go ahead with the pregnancy. All that is possible. And the robotics have come in. So you do the heart surgery using a robot. Well, a surgeon sits far away, could be even in another country technically, and you can operate on somebody's heart using the robot which is stationed there. So these are all very dramatic advances. But the single, I think, is the miniaturization. Just like everything has become miniaturized. Your radios have become very small now. Your mobile phone has become very small. So same way medicine also, everything has become easier, smaller and better. So that is a big advance. When in the early days it was said that big surgeons make big incisions. But now I think it's the other way around. Big surgeons make small incisions, so something like that.
Something like that. And doctor, so how about the heart transplant have you done here in recently?
I have not done personally in Sri Lanka, but we are about to start the transplant program. We have been working on it. We have got the permission from the government to start the program. But while I was in the UK and Ireland, I have been part of the team doing heart transplants, and I've been part of the team for many transplants. So here we hope to do it very soon. And one of the main difficulties in heart transplantation is to get the donor heart. So there are many patients who are awaiting, youngsters with terminal heart failure, where you cannot do normal surgery, you cannot treat with medicines. The only option is to change this heart, give him a new heart. And there are many victims, young victims of road accidents who are otherwise brain dead, who cannot survive. Who we can use those hearts to save these patients. They have no hope of survival. So, but the awareness and the willingness of the relatives to donate that heart.
So basically, the donor is
the big problem, biggest problem, and it's a very difficult situation for everybody. The relatives are in distress because they have lost a very loved one, and they are still hoping something may happen and he may come back. So to convince them to donate that heart, that's the final. Once you donate the heart, you're practically, there is no chance at all. So that is a difficult situation, but people are becoming more and more aware, and hopefully we will be able to help more patients once the program starts.
Correct. I can recall in 1990s, in actually one Kerala doctor, he did it in Apollo, Dr. Cherian, I believe, he did the transplant.
He has come here.
He has come here as well, so he did once.
In Chennai.
In Chennai, correct, yes, he had done it. Madras Medical Mission, I believe.
We are actually tied up with him.
Right,
to start the program here.
Okay, fine.
He was here about 2 weeks back.
Great. So Sri Lankans will have that facility also very soon.
We are looking to start the program soon.
Right. And also, Doctor, we are in the final part of the discussion, and I would like to have another quick 2 questions along with that. So what are your advices for the people who are studying for cardiovascular, and also people who hopes to study for? So what kind of advices you can give them?
Yes. First, of course, if you want to become a cardiologist or a cardiac surgeon, you have to do your general medicine first, and then you have to do specialization in medicine, not surgery. If you're a cardiologist, if you're going to be a cardiac surgeon, you have to do general surgery first, and then go for specialist training in either cardiology, which is on the medical side, or cardiac surgery, which is on the surgical side. So both of these require a long period of training, and you have to be prepared for that to learn. And each day, as I said, a lot of advances are happening. So you have to keep pace with that. And it is a very gratifying field once you reach there. So you have to be determined to reach that goal. And it is training facilities are available now even in Sri Lanka to become a cardiologist. You may have to go abroad for a year or 2 to get yourself. I would always advise anyone to go outside their own country. I'm not talking about any particular country, so that you can see what is being done there. Because each country, the method of treatment is different, and also the approach to the patient also varies. So it will be an eye-opener to go to a different setup and see for yourself how things are managed. And that will definitely help you in your career. So these things, if you follow just like any other field, it can be achieved.
I think it's a very valuable advices. And how often basically you have to regularly go for checkups, and the professionals who are busy professionals?
If you do one checkup, normally I would say in the Asians, I would say at the age of 40, you have a basic health checkup. And if everything is fine, you don't have to go very often. You can maybe once in few years, you can just make sure that you are not becoming a diabetic, because diabetes, you may not even know you're a diabetic. Only if you do a blood sugar level, symptoms come very late. And so you have to find out. So only by doing a blood test you can find out. Even cholesterol does not produce symptoms, just high cholesterol. only if you check your blood you can find out whether you are suffering from a very high cholesterol or not. So these things you need to check up. You don't have to go for any major invasive tests. Simple tests will initially, and if they show a problem, then of course you have to go for more tests.
Based on that. So with that advice, doctor, thank you very much for your valuable time and your valuable advices for our viewers, and so we learned a lot from you, and wish you all the very best, and for your service industry you are contributing towards, especially for Sri Lankan population. So on behalf of that, I'm thanking you, and also thank you very much for your time as well. Thank you, doctor. Thank you very much. Thanks. That was a perfect interview and valuable advices from Dr. Jayakrishnan, who was a chief cardiovascular surgeon and thoracic surgeon, also transplant surgeon as well, from Navaloka Hospital. So let's meet up with another Thani Oruvan program shortly. Till then, goodbye.